Hello amazing people. In case you are joining for the first time, my name is Sarah. I'm an agri-tourist and also the founder of Explore. At Explore, we bring farms to your screen, including agricultural activities and sites. The aim is to educate you on sustainable agricultural practices and also for you to see how agricultural production is being done. Practicing sustainable agriculture is one of the ways we can achieve the SDGs and the fight for climate justice. As an advocate for sustainable agriculture and SDG to Zero Hunger, exploring various agricultural practices that are sustainable is my passion. One of the practices that interests me the most is mushroom farming. Mushroom farming is a practice that should be encouraged across the global south. I'm passionate about mushroom farming and how it can transform agriculture, especially in Africa. Today, I'm in Hungary, standing in front of the biggest oyster mushroom producer in the country. This visit is going to show you how large-scale mushroom production is being done and to inspire you to tap into this opportunity back home. Before we go in, I would like to let you know that my book on mushroom farming is still selling. This book provides a holistic guide on how to grow different kinds of mushroom, including how to source your spawns, how to control the disease and the pest, and everything about mushroom farming. Do well to find the link and get yourself one. You might be wondering what these are. This is where the magic begins. Mushrooms are grown using agricultural waste and byproducts. These are bales of straws, mainly wheat and barley. This section is the storage section of the company. Mushrooms are produced all year round, but these straws are purchased once in a year during summer. So they are being stored here for future use. If you have watched this video up to this point, please don't forget to give us a like, a share and a comment. That means that you are interested in mushroom farming, and I'm pretty sure that this video is going to be a mind-blowing one for you.
So we are here at the first step of the substrate production step. First we open up the bales, remove the ropes from that, and we put the bales into this grinding machine. The input is over there at the green part, and the grinding takes place here, and then the output is over there at the other end of the machine. You can see here and check here the output material. It has smaller particle of the wheat straw.
Okay.
This is the ground material. This is what we are going to use in the next step.
Okay.
So the next step is that we build heaps from this material, and we add some water to that. This will catalyze and start the composting process here at the open yard composting site. This actually takes about 4 to 5 days, and during that time the heaps are regularly turned and moved by machines to secure even distribution of the heat forming and the microbial community. The objective is this process to create a good microbial community that can support oyster mushroom growing. We don't want to kill every microbes because there are some beneficial ones for the oyster mushroom that can support that. We want to make them to dominate the community, but we want to suppress the molds, which are the most harmful organisms in this process, because they can easily overgrow oyster mushroom.
And sometimes, especially during the summer, we have to add additional water, because for optimal conditions this substrate needs to be up to 75% water, and it dries out quite fast, sadly. So almost every day during the summer we have to water it, unless it's raining, of course. Then the rain takes care of it.
Okay.
The indicator that everything is going well is heat production.
Exactly.
So the core of the heap can be really hot, like to 16 to 17.
Up to 80.
Up to 80 Celsius degrees.
What equipment do you use in turning the heap?
It's under maintenance.
Okay, it's under maintenance.
All heaps have to be turned every day.
How often do you turn it every day? Like once in a day or
Once in a day, yes.
2 times? Okay, once in a day.
You can see that the piles closest to the grinder are usually the youngest.
Oh, okay.
And, as we are turning it, we are putting them closer and closer. Yeah.
Okay,
And
okay.
that one is the one, like the one behind this is the one that is going in the pasteurization tunnel today. These are the pasteurization tunnels.
Okay.
You can see there 4 shorter ones. Those are the ones currently in operation.
Okay.
But these 2 ones are brand new. They are not currently in operation yet, but they will be within the month.
Can I take a look into it?
Naturally.
Okay.
This is the device we use to load in the pre-composted
Material, yes.
And we load the tunnel, and after like 4 to 5 days, we remove the pasteurized substrate on the other side of the tunnel. For the tunnel, we have a certain pre-treatment program where we can set the temperature and the residence time. You can imagine it as like a receipt. So we maintain higher temperature and we cool and so on. And once it's done, we unload it on the other side, and there we spawn it. So we inoculate it, we add the spawn and pack it into blocks with a special type of plastic film.
Okay, so let me get it right. You mean when you get these pre-composted straws, you bring it into this, you take this machine and load it into this conveyor.
Yeah.
Okay, then the conveyor moves this to the tunnel for pasteurization.
Exactly.
So after pasteurization, what then happens? There is another outlet there.
Exactly.
Okay, so the outlet inside the pasteurization tunnel takes it into the weighing rooms.
Basically, you see this carpet here.
Okay.
At the end, there is a machine that drags this carpet out, and with it the straw.
It's like a very large conveyor.
Exactly. It
Okay.
dispenses it on a conveyor. Then it goes up to a hopper, on top of which we distribute the spawn. So distributed even at a controlled ratio. We usually use 3%. Then this takes it to a block making machine where this spawn substrate is loaded into this plastic foil bags or blocks, and then it's welded shut. And depending on the needs of the customer, we can also perforate it, put larger holes for it for the mushrooms to then come out.
You mentioned customers. Do you also sell your substrates?
We do sell our substrate indeed. We produce over 10,000 tons annually, and 40% of which usually ends up abroad, satisfying our Central or Eastern European partners' needs. Further, 30% of it is used locally or at our other mushroom farm in Ladánybene, and 30% of it is distributed within the country to smaller farmers.
Wow. As you can see, there is a lot of opportunities that mushroom production can offer. They just mentioned that apart from mushroom production, they also produce substrates which they sell to their partners in Central Europe, here in Hungary, and also for their own production. This is another opportunity that we can key into. Even if you don't want to go into mushroom production itself, you can go into the business of converting agricultural waste into substrates that can be used for mushroom production. We have a lot of byproducts in Africa. We have people that are into corn farming, rice farming, and milling of rice. The byproduct of rice meal and crushed corn husks can be prepared into substrates for production of mushrooms. This is something we can replicate back home. You can do the substrate production and sell to companies that want to grow mushrooms. You can imagine converting your agricultural waste into wealth. I believe that someone out there is inspired by this and we want to take it up as a business. This is how the pre-composted substrate is being loaded into the conveyor belt that will take it into the pasteurization chamber. If you take a closer look at it, you will see that the pre-composted substrate is really hot. This is as a result of the microbial activities that has taken place in it. Now the question is, how do you know the right mushroom type for you? How do you know the one that is perfect for your environment? Because there are different types of mushroom and each type of it has a required environmental condition that allows it to strive.
When we say oyster mushroom substrate, it does not mean only one type of oyster mushroom, because oyster mushroom is like a family of different types of oyster mushroom, and we use different types of spawn. Actually, we have winter and summer strains, depending on the optimal temperature they can grow on. And we also apply winter strains during the winter and summer strains in the summer. But we also have different colors, different sizes. There is yellow one, there is the tiger one which has stripes, there is the regular brown one.
There is a pink one, which is extremely interesting.
Pink one?
Indeed, it's called Pleurotus. I'm not sure how the Latin name is pronounced. It is, I think, Jamor or something, DJAMOR. It's a very nice, very intriguing looking pink strain of oyster mushroom. Not very good for commercial sale, however, because after you pick it, it lasts usually 1 to 2 days before it goes bad, sadly. But it is an extremely interesting.
I would like to see that. Do you have it here?
No, sadly. We are planning on experimenting with it in small scales, but we don't currently have anything here other than the oyster, like the regular oyster mushroom strains we use. So the Pleurotus ostreatus, so the late oyster mushroom or the winter oyster mushroom. And during the summer we also use the Pleurotus pulmonarius, which is the summer oyster mushroom.
There are strains of oyster mushroom that can grow on higher temperatures, because I think the main difference between the African growing and between the Hungarian growing is the seasonal differences, because here in Hungary we have winter, we have summer, but in Africa you have basically one season to say, but feel free to correct me.
We have 2 seasons, rainy season and dry season.
Rainy season, okay, but the temperature is kind of stable.
Yeah, it's still stable, yeah.
But the temperature is stable, but higher than here in Hungary. So you need to apply strains that can grow well on higher temperatures, like summer strains to say, because then you don't need to spend so much effort on controlling the environment. So if you accept the conditions you already have and try to find the proper strain to it, then you can save energy that you don't need to control that much the environment.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend that much on cooling down the air, for example.
Okay.
There are also naturally spawn manufacturers and spawn retailing companies that operate in Africa as well. For example, some of our partners, I know that they have headquarters, I think in either Kenya or maybe in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you can probably find them online and see what solution is best for you if you plan on growing oyster mushrooms.
We don't want to make any promotion, but there are only a few global companies in this spawn business, because you need to have really good laboratory background to maintain the strains, because this should be done in sterile environment to avoid any contamination and make sure that the spawn that you are selling is really that type of mushroom.
Yeah.
For every type of mushroom there are spawns, not only for oyster mushroom but also bottom mushroom, different types of bottom mushroom, and usually they are the same companies that have really a good laboratory background, clean and standardized and sterile laboratories to maintain the strains. They need to re-inoculate the strains over and over to make it genetically good, and also it's really difficult. There are also types of oyster mushroom which are sporeless. It's important because if you grow oyster mushroom, the biggest risk for your health is the spores. If you inhale the spores, because that can cause really serious issues in your lungs and so on. If you keep care of your farming and maintain it well, you can easily avoid the spores because you simply harvest the mushrooms before it will release the spores. But if you want to make it sure, there are also sporeless strains available also in the market in forms of spawn.
Okay. Let's go and see the substrate that is already ready for market.
One block is about 17 kilos.
17 kilos?
Yeah, and every block has a label like this. This is the buyer, this is the lot number, which can help us to identify the production and the date if there is an issue. This is the production date, the packaging date, which is like today. This is the type of the oyster mushroom.
Okay.
This is our website.
Okay. Wow, this is amazing. Mushroom farming is a very good agricultural practice because it is a typical example of circular economy in agriculture. Now, this company does not only produce oyster mushroom or the substrate, they also complete the cycle by using the byproducts from the mushroom. They convert it into biogas. This is amazing. I think I need to come and do an internship in your company.
So we could always use the help.
So guys, this is the packaging and the storaging area of the substrate, right?
Yeah.
So before you go into there, you have to first of all wear this, as you can see. This is to protect the environment and to make sure that there is no cross contamination from you into the substrate, because you have to be very careful when it comes to mushroom production, because any little mistake can cause a lot of contamination. So this is the place.
The blocks are coming from there.
Okay.
This is the area where we can have it. And here only they put it on pallets and make it ready for shipment. So outside, that wheat straw is in these black blocks.
Okay.
But after pasteurization and after spawning. So we cannot really show you the spawning and the forming of these blocks. So you can only see the out.
That means that the blocks already have the spawns inside.
Exactly. If you put these blocks into good environment, the mushroom will start growing.
Okay.
So ideally, until use, you should keep it under cool conditions.
Indeed.
Because then the mushroom will not grow. And once it's under good conditions, the mushroom will start growing.
Okay, so that is to say that you have done typically everything. It's just to keep it in the right environment for it to grow and you get your mushrooms, right? So that means you pasteurize the substrate and also spawn the substrate. Oh, this is really nice. You as the buyer, your duty is just to make sure that you maintain the optimal environmental conditions that is required for that very mushroom species to strive. Interesting.
And of course to pick the mushrooms when it's grown. It's the fruit of our labor.
Yes, exactly. And to my greatest surprise, I met an African brother who happens to be a Kenyan working in this company. Habari yako? Jina langu ni Sarah. Yes. George. Nice to meet you. I'm so happy to see you. I hope you are going to bring this knowledge back home. Okay, thank you so much.
There's 3 Kenyan guys working here.
Really?
One's George, one's Francis, who's currently inside, and there's also Frederick, who I think is on sick leave currently.
Wow. Now we are going to see the mushrooms.
Oyster mushroom farming basically has 2 phases. The first phase is when the mycelia colonizes the substrate. You cannot see anything from outside, but the magic happens inside. So basically the mycelia grows through the substrate, colonizes it, and decomposes the substrate meanwhile. This usually takes 2-3 weeks. And when it's fully colonized, you can change the environmental conditions, which will trigger the fruiting body formation.
Okay.
And the fruiting body formation is again like 2 weeks for the first wave. And you can harvest it, and usually we harvest 2 waves. You cannot imagine a harvest at one occasion and harvest everything, but a harvest is a few days. And in that few days you harvest every day the bodies that are large enough to harvest. And then again you will have a new wave of fruiting body formation in like 1 week or 10 days, and you can harvest it again. And if you would leave, then you would have also a third or fourth wave, but that is not really economically viable because with every wave the yield will decrease. So for the first wave you have the highest yield and it will decrease. But if you grow it only for home, you may wait until 5 or 6 waves or whatever. But then you will get only a very little amount of mushroom at the very end of the process.
This is not the pure white oyster mushroom. It has a little bit of color.
Oh yes, since it's more of a winter strain, it is bound to be more brownish grey.
Okay, so this is the winter strain.
It is a hybrid, but since it's growing in colder temperatures, it means it first of all grows slower. Secondly, grows bigger and more thicker, and another side effect is that it grows darker. So in the summer it is way more light. And it also grows faster, but the fruiting bodies themselves will be more loose, not as densely populated, and also they will be less thick.
Okay, I see.
You can turn to the label and check it. Here is the label, for example. And what you can see that the destination of this substrate is our own production. This is the lot number, this is the production date. With start of March, now we are start of April. So 1 month you can already harvest some mushroom. And this is the hybrid Gergő mentioned. This is the HK35, which is probably the most common.
It is the most common and the most commercially sought after hybrid because it produces well. It has nice, aesthetically pleasing bunches, and it has one of the most longest shelf lives in a store.
How about the nutrients?
There is no significant difference in the nutritional value than any other strain, in my opinion, or from what I know. All moist oyster mushroom strains tend to be very nutritious, however. Low in chitin, high in protein indeed. It's almost a very good replacement for meat as well.
Yes, of course. So do you think growing in a dark plastic is better off than growing in a white plastic?
Jury's still out on this one. Some people swear by growing it in transparent plastic. In terms of our experiences, we would say that before the fruiting phase, while the mycelia is still colonizing the substrate, the dark helps it to perform better and faster.
Than the transparent?
Than the transparent, yes.
Okay.
If you imagine in the nature, it is growing inside a tree, decaying tree, there is also no light inside. Actually, oyster mushroom needs some light, but not as much light as, for example, plants.
Yes.
But light for them is an indication that they reach the edge of the substrate and then they can form the fruiting body.
Okay.
Because why mushrooms form the fruiting body? To release the spores, to multiply. And where they can release the spores in the open air where there is light. So light is not a source of energy or whatever like for plants, but only a source of indication that they are at the edge of the substrate and they can form the fruiting body.
Okay.
But alone is light not enough for fruiting body formation because they also need to have humidity and good temperature. I mean the temperature depends on the strain. Like for example for winter strains it can be low as like 12, 40 degrees.
12, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For summer strains that can be higher to trigger the fruiting body formation. But anyway, what is really necessary is humidity.
Indeed.
Okay.
And how we...
Humidity, fresh air for the fruiting bodies themselves.
Yeah.
For the colonization phase, actually, the higher CO2 amounts actually help it colonize faster.
And stable temperature.
And very stable temperatures.
For the colonization.
What can you say about growing in plastic containers and growing in bags? Which one do you think is more economical, beneficial, and also more sustainable?
Economically, we produce in large, we produce it automatically. Basically, we have this plastic film and the machine fills with the substrate automatically. So it's fully automatic, and when it's filled, the machine closes it and makes the holes on that, and that's all. So it's really a speedy process and an automatic process. And actually, when the production is done in a house, we remove the spent mushroom substrate and we bring it to the biogas plants, where we remove the spent mushroom substrate manually from this plastic material. So it's a really labor-intensive part to just open up every block, remove the plastic and so on. But the plastic can be recycled. In Hungary, there are companies specialized in recycling of agricultural plastic films, and one of those companies recycles this plastic film.
Okay.
But of course, if you would do that at home or in small scale, you may consider to use reusable containers.
So guys, that's to say that when you want to go into large-scale production of mushroom, you can use plastic film bags for your production because it's easier to package with a machine. But when you are doing it in a small scale, that's production for yourself or for little markets, it's good to use the plastic bucket because it is more sustainable in the sense that you can reuse the plastic bucket, but for industrial production, you can use the film. But as you're using the film, also try to look out for companies that recycle these films so that we don't cause problems to the environment. To get the optimum growth of your mushroom, you have to ensure that there is adequate humidity and fresh air. The technology this company is using to provide this requirement is quite simple, but very innovative, and it's something that can be replicated. So for them to be able to get the right room temperature, they are making use of this chamber that has water coming down from it. Then with the help of the ventilator at the end, it helps to cool the room. This is the ventilator. When it's on, it works hand in hand with the water that is flowing there for the purpose of cooling this unit and also to humidify the environment because mushroom needs humidity to thrive. They're using this technique in replace of air conditioning because air conditioning is not really suitable for this because the spores from the mushroom can block the ventilation chamber of the air condition. So with this technique they are using, it is safer and more efficient for the mushroom growth. Okay.
As you can see, this is not the most, well, how can I say, not the most in shape building. It's very old, it's repurposed. This mushroom growing wasn't the original intention, but it works. And this is a testament to the fact that you can basically grow oyster mushrooms anywhere if you want. It's a very resilient species of mushroom, and to optimize it, it can be a large investment. You can start within your own kitchen, within your own garage, wherever. Specialized mushroom growing tents.
Okay, this is specialized.
Yeah, it is specialized. That is an experiment that we're currently running. Here is our research and development cycle. Here we are trying to grow mushrooms on coffee grounds and sawdust.
Oh, coffee grounds and sawdust.
And sawdust as well.
Is this the same experiment you are doing with mate?
Indeed.
Oh, I see. So this is the experiment that the organization is trying to run. Using coffee grounds and sawdust to grow mushroom, and they are doing it in collaboration with MATE, that is the Hungarian University of Agriculture and Life Sciences. You might mention that this is a specialized growing unit, so what makes it specialized?
Mainly the insulation you can see. You can also see these in the other room as well, but these are pipes which we use as heating. We run hot water through it, and when the temperatures are too cold, this is how we heat. But the main evaporative wall plus
the ventilator,
the fan, that principle is still the same here as well.
Okay. So are you also growing the winter strain here?
Currently, this is also the HK35 strain, the hybrid.
The hybrid, okay.
But this tent is just about finished with the first flush. As you can see, it's not very
It's not
full
full.
of
Yes.
mushrooms. Yeah,
You have harvested the first flush.
indeed.
Okay.
This one is almost done.
Oh,
I also want to show you one of the newer tents that we
Okay.
call the Giga tents.
Okay. Oh. Interesting.
But you can see that here it's a way bigger capacity tent.
Yes.
Way more spacious, and it has the most up-to-date insulation. It is one of our state-of-the-art tents or growing chambers.
I don't really see anything difficult here that cannot be replicated in Africa.
Exactly.
Because we have the water, we have the ventilator. I can't see any specialized or any special table, tanks or anything.
Yeah.
So that means it's doable.
Completely.
So guys, what is just needed is for you to have the right knowledge and the right dedication. With it, you can turn your waste into wealth. Just get your structure fixed. No matter how small, you can start small and expand as the business grows. I totally believe that it is doable. But the beautiful thing about mushrooms is that you can sell it fresh, you can also sell it dried. You can even process it into products.
Packaging plant itself.
Okay.
Sadly, we cannot go inside, but
We can only see from the window.
yeah. But you can see the mushroom bunches in crates,
Okay.
which get processed and put inside small trays like that, put through that machine, and they get this foil added to them, and then it's ready for shipment. We mainly export to the neighboring countries, Germany,
Really?
Austria, places like this indeed. But we also sell these mushrooms domestically as well to some retailers. You can find our mushrooms on the store shelves here in Hungary too.
Okay.
We also dabble in other products. For instance, we have this product family called running under the name of Via Naturalis. Basically, it's oyster mushroom pate. It has 6 different flavors.
Okay.
We have one that is like a Mediterranean tomato flavor, a vegetable flavor. We have a Tokai wine flavor, blueberry flavor, chili flavor, and of course shiitake flavor, because if you buy oyster mushroom pate, naturally you want it to taste like shiitake. These are the main 6 flavors of this pate family. You can find this in a few bio stores or online.
Is that a drink or what?
It's pate, so it's like a little spreadable
For
condiment. For bread, for biscuits, for crackers.
Okay.
Very good, or for cooking as well. We are also in the business of selling dried mushrooms
Oh, you also sell dried mushrooms here?
to pharmacies and I think on wholesale. I'm not quite familiar with this part of the business, so I cannot say exacts, but I am pretty sure currently we have some stock that is going to pharmacies.
Wow.
Because oyster mushrooms have a very beneficial health effect as well.
Yes, I know. So you might be thinking what they do with the spent substrates. These things you are seeing here are the spent substrates from their mushroom farm. So they heap it here at first before using it for the production of biogas.
This is the collection yard where we collect the spent mushroom substrate and also other bio-wastes from external sources, and actually we put it into the biogas plant where microbes decompose it and meanwhile produce biogas, which is a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide, and we burn the biogas here on site. We have a cogeneration plant, which means it can produce at the same time electricity and heat, and the electricity we sell to the electricity network. So we sell it directly to the electricity provider, and it is fed into the grid. And we can use the heat to dry mushroom because we have a small container-based dryer. This is how actually spent mushroom substrate looks like.
Okay.
You may remember the starting material that we also show you. This is the same vitro, but it is somehow decomposed because of the enzymatic activity of the mycelia. And this white that you can see, this is the mycelia that is growing in the substrate. And actually, because of the mycelia, that's also keeps together, so it acts like a kind of a glue.
Yes.
And you can see it's full of the mycelia. And actually we have workers who just remove the plastic film because this is not biologically compostable. So they remove this film, and this film is recycled through a company, and this is what we put into the biogas plant.
This visit has been an eye-opener. You can imagine converting your agricultural waste into wealth. I believe someone today has been inspired. There is a lot we can achieve through mushroom farming. If you are inspired, don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.